So I've personally taken thousands of one-to-one calls in high-ticket sales. I've closed over $4 million. And I've also coached over 100 beginners that previously had no experience, had never done sales before, helped them get into the space, and I'll make between $5,000 up to $15,000, $20,000 per month. So obviously from doing this, I've learned one or two things about how to handle objections. I used to struggle massively when it came to objection handling, and I used to I need to think about it, I need to talk to my partner on like all of my calls. Then I figured out this very simple framework I'm gonna share with you in this video. That's something that you definitely, I promise you, have not heard about before from some other sales coach, that helped me make objection handling very easy and very quickly in my calls, allow me to just start closing more deals, make more money, and just make sales way more enjoyable as well. Because here's the thing, most people, they think about objections in the completely wrong way. And even like the big sales coaches you might look at, guys like maybe Jeremy Miner, Alex Tremosi, Grant Cardone, like these very big, well-known salespeople, they teach sales in a completely effed up way. They tell you that, yeah, okay, when you get an objection, you need to say this to the prospect and you're gonna close them. You hear on Instagram Reels, if you scroll on Instagram or go on YouTube, hear these people telling you, okay, when someone says this, you say this. That way of teaching objection handling does not work, and here's why. Because when you're doing that, you never understand why the person is giving that objection. Someone who says, I want to think about it, they do not mean that they want to think about it. Think about this, for example, last time when you were like if you travel in Europe, for example, you had these like street vendors who sell you like sunglasses and things like that. Last time you went on a trip and you're like, okay, I looked at these sunglasses, they're getting all like pushy, trying to give you the best offer, etc. You tell them, hey man, I'm gonna go have dinner and I'll come back to you. Or I'm gonna go for a walk and I'll get back to you. You've probably done that. I've done that multiple times, you know? When you tell them I'm gonna get back to you, I'm gonna think about, I'm gonna go on a bit of a walk and come back to you, you've already made up your mind. You already know for yourself that you're not gonna buy those glasses because the color was off, or they're too expensive, whatever it is. The exact same thing happens in sales. When someone tells you I want to think about it, they do not mean those words. What they're trying to communicate to you is that, hey man, I'm not confident enough to make this decision. There's something that's off with the product you're selling. Maybe the price, maybe the deliverables, something is not there. So I am not confident enough, I'm not certain enough to make this decision. If you then hear them saying, I want to think about it, and you handle that, you miss the whole point of what they're saying. That's what most salespeople do. I used to do this. Someone will say, I want to think about it, I need to look at my finance, I would be okay, cool. And I would handle that objection. Hey man, you shouldn't be thinking about it, you should make a quick decision. And that never works. That's why it gets combative, gets into like this fight mode where you just find the prospect and you never close. You never close deals that way. What you need to shift to, instead of what I learned after a lot of trial and error, it took me so many calls to learn this. And I invested probably 10, even like 15K into coaching before I actually learned this. So please just take this away so you don't have to invest the money and the time to learn this yourself. Is that when you figure out the underlying thing, you figure out why they're saying what they're saying, and you handle that, that's when you can shift that around in like 2-3 minutes and close the deal. So let me give you an example here. Someone says, I want to think about it, and you're like the closer number one, like the newbie closer, not you guys watching my videos, but like an average closer. They're gonna go into, okay, why do you want to think about it? Yeah, I just need to think through if it's the right thing for me to do. Okay, what do you think someone who's gonna be successful would do? Do you think they would make a quick decision? Do you think they would wait 24 hours? And then you start like going into that pattern of like trying to push them to make a quick decision, because that's what the successful people would do. They get defensive, the person puts their guard up and they shut down. They feel like, okay, this guy's just trying to close me to make a commission. They shut down and they drop off the call, or they just like don't buy. That's most people, okay? Option number 2, what you're gonna do after watching this video to make a hell of a lot of money and actually be a good closer, so can actually lead people and actually help people. You ask that person who says they want to think about it. Totally fine, no worries whatsoever. Yes, I see if I can even help you out. What do you feel like is coming up for you right now that's making you less than 100% confident that this is the right thing for you? Simple as that. You understand that they're saying they want to think about it. What they actually mean is they're unsure about something. You just ask them, hey man, what are you unsure about? That's it. They're gonna tell you. If you're neutral and very just relaxed in how you say it, very detached, they'll be like, yeah, I'm actually just unsure about this. The investment, I think it's too much money, or I think this is the thing I'm sure about. And then you handle objection. Simple as that. One simple shift. You can apply this right now. You just figure out where does this come from. When they say they want to think about it, you just realize, okay, this is the person telling me that they're unsure about something. And you just figure out where is that coming from. What's the uncertainty? You just ask them that. What's keeping you uncertain right now? They tell you what it is, and you can handle the underlying thing. I promise you, apply this, try this out in your calls, and you close so much more. and your calls will actually become about helping people. You and the prospect are on the same side of the table, helping them move forward, which is what sales is about. High ticket sales is not about closing people. It's not about fighting objections or even overcoming objections. It's about getting on the same side of the table as your prospect and working together with them through the objections to help them make a good decision. That's what it's about. That's why I love high ticket sales. It's not about pushing people to buy. It's not about forcing someone to buy something. It's about helping them make a good decision, which sometimes it's buying and sometimes it's not. So I hope this makes sense. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any more in-depth questions on this. If you want my help to get into a role and get trained up on how to sell properly in an actual aligned way and sell as a leader, not some pushy salesperson, you can apply down below for my mentorship where I help guys like yourself probably to get trained up on the skill, get placed into roles, and actually succeed in the space. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Take care. Ciao.